So what are the ramifications of Chile's cancellation of this year's APEC? What about for other planned sideline events between world leaders? Well, for one, APEC's cancellation has raised the question of where Trump and Xi would sign the agreement that their teams have been trying to hammer out, adding to growing concern over whether the official expression of confidence from Washington and Beijing would translate into a deal. Let's try getting an in-depth analysis. Live on the line is Sean King, Vice President of New York-based Park Strategies. Sean also has experience working for the U.S. government as a trade official. Sean, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, what's your assessment of the Chilean government's last-minute decision to cancel two major international events, the APEC summit and the COP25?
Well, it's their call, but it seems to make sense. I mean, the pictures are pretty distressing, and they have to keep their own citizens' safety in mind, plus that of the visitors. So I defer to Chile on all Chilean matters, but it seems like they made the right call.
Now, APEC in Chile was supposed to provide an important venue for Presidents Trump and Xi to sign a Phase 1 trade deal. Some say it may be a relief to everybody involved now that there is no deadline that they have to worry about. Others are concerned about a lost opportunity to settle a global trade war. How will this impact U.S.-China trade deal?
Well, you have to assume that there's even a deal to sign in the first place, because I'm not necessarily convinced there is, and there have been a lot of conflicting signals since the announcement of the so-called Phase 1 a few weeks ago. But, you know, we don't need APEC to sign a deal. However, deadlines are helpful. It is good to have some kind of milestone to shoot for there. But if they really want to sign a deal, we can sign it anywhere. Although I know Xi Jinping doesn't want to sign it in the U.S. because then it looks like he's coming to Trump, begging for a deal. And then if he were to not get a deal, he would go home empty-handed and be humiliated. And then meanwhile, Trump can say, I showed him and sent him home without a deal. That's why APEC was attractive, because it was a multilateral setting where they just happened to be. And if it didn't work out, no big deal. We were there anyway. But now if they arrange something just to make a deal, they both own the failure if it doesn't work out. So I think they should just look for somewhere else multilateral to meet, like maybe the East Asian Summit in Bangkok. Then that gives them both deniability. Right now they don't plan to be there, but if they go there instead, that just works out for everyone.
Right. So do you think it's still the deadline of perhaps a year-end deadline is still there, that the two leaders will try to make an effort to try to meet somewhere to sign a deal, Phase 1 deal, whatever it is, by the end of the year?
I think it's a soft deadline because Xi Jinping doesn't have to worry about elections and Trump does, and he's going to want to make sure that whatever he signs is something he can sell to voters in 2020. And as far as the APEC summit, listen, I mean, APEC's not the most consequential organization. The world can survive, no offense, without another APEC summit. But since so long as Bangkok is hosting ASEAN, they may just want to reconstitute the summit there on such short notice and still have it, but let Chile chair it, even though it's in Thailand.
Now, Sean, tell me, what happens when such cancellations happen? I mean, the White House has said that APEC did not currently have a secondary site prepared. But as someone with experience in working for the U.S. government as a trade official, what do you think are some options being considered by members of the APEC right now?
The only experience of my own I have would be when I was at Commerce after September 11th, and we had the Doha ministerial coming up to launch the next round of the WTO. Now, we had, a month or two, and it wasn't the whole summit wasn't in question, but was there a sense that the U.S. delegation could still be there in time after the terrorist attacks? And somehow the U.S. rallied and we were there and made a great contribution. I suspect it's that same kind of atmosphere at APEC right now. There's probably always a backup plan, even if they're not saying so now. It was in Papua New Guinea last time, so you would assume they'd want to have it somewhere in North or Central South America this time. But again, for the reasons I mentioned, that she doesn't want to travel to the U.S., that the U.S. trade deal is on offer, I don't think it would happen in the United States. I really think the most sense would be just to double up on Bangkok and piggyback APEC on ASEAN, since many of the same members will already be there, including Thailand, the host.
Absolutely. All right, Sean King, Vice President of New York-based Park Strategies, many thanks as always for your insights. We always appreciate it.
Thank you.